your hands together for Carluke Blue.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to Carluke's Blue Speechmaking team. Today we will consider, has the UK gone pet mad? Our team today consists of 3 youngs and 1 old. On my far left is our arbitrator, Miss Christina Young.
Good afternoon.
And on my near left is our opposer, Mr. Jack Young.
Good afternoon.
Both of whom I'll introduce more fully later on. On my right, we have our proposer for today, Mr. Andrew Jackson.
Good afternoon.
Andrew is 29 and currently works as an environmental project manager. Unfortunately, Andrew isn't much of a pet fan after a childhood experience being chased by a feral cockerel in his local farm. I'll now pass over to Andrew, who will oppose today's case.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, the UK has gone pet mad. The increase in demand in pets, the price of pets, and don't start me on social media with pets. It seems every Tom, Dick and Harry has a influencer pet, trying to get views with their unremarkable dogs, cats and hamsters. But there are points I need to raise which are very much against this rise in pet frenzy in the UK. My first point being the rise in pet ownership and demand hasn't led to a bigger community of responsible pet owners. Instead, it's been the opposite, and it's caused a disaster for humane pet efforts in the UK. In COVID, pet demand skyrocketed. People with nothing better to do in their lives than to buy a pet and spend their time with them, to waste the time in the home in their life they use from going out and being with their friends or being elsewhere. See, these pets were raised in isolation. They never got to socialise with other pets, with other people. So when COVID ended, what happened was we were left with a rise in feral pets entering the UK. You'll see in the news about pet attacks, pets going missing, running away. These pets never got the chance to properly learn and be educated. And this rise in pet demand was a big reason for that taking place. And secondly, don't these animals deserve better? This rise in demand has led to unethical pet practices. Illegal pet breeders, breeding pets on farms, in vans, selling to the public on sheep in the background. Simply is irresponsible. These pets are being raised in horrible conditions. These puppy farms and the mothers being forced to, year after year, watch their puppies be sold and sold and sold for these people's greed and profit. It is simply not fair on the pets, and I do not agree with it one tire bit. And my next point, what comes up, what's come down? This rise in demand for pets can't continue, and we've seen that's the case. All these people who got pets during COVID, find out when they leave their work, they can't look after these pets. They're at work, they can't afford to look after the pets. They don't have the social responsibility or the care to look after these pets. So what happens is, these pets are rehomed, surrendered back to the care homes, dogs trust, etc., where they're simply left alone after having all that love for those years at home during COVID. And these places, they can't deal with the demand. The cost of caring for these animals, the demand on their kennels, people trying to rehome them, it's simply unfair on them, and it's unfair on the pets. And worst of all, I think, is pet abandonment on the streets, out of cars in the woods, leaving these poor animals by themselves and alone, with no idea how to care for themselves, hoping some poor soul will find them and be a good Samaritan and take them somewhere safe and look after them. It simply isn't fair. These pets deserve better, and I hope you agree that this demand in pets and this craze cannot go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. A really passionate, insightful facts getting shown there. We now move to our opposer, Mr. Jack Young. Jack is 26 and works at home at the family farm. At working on the farm, Jack is familiar with pets, whether it's the sheepdogs or such like, or the pet cow that he denies that he doesn't have. So this sets Jack up perfectly to oppose the motion. Jack.
Thank you, Master Chair. As a farmer and an animal lover myself, I think people should be at one with nature. And having pets allows many people to have this connection and that I take for granted every single day. And that is why I oppose the motion that the UK has gone pet mad. We will discover this motion in the following points. Firstly, pets and animals can provide comforting nature to many humans. Many children and even adults suffer from severe anxiety, and growing up with pets round about them can often comfort them in many situations. Whether they don't have proper school friends or even work colleagues, they can go home at night to a dog or a cat and really feel they have a place in life to look after it. These animals can give anything from dogs, cats, even snakes or pigs. Secondly, with the obesity crisis in the UK, a key pressure on the NHS, the UK having a top number of dogs as pets and having a top number of obese humans goes hand in hand, because this allows these humans to put a positive impact on their lifestyle. It gives them an excuse to go for a walk with their dog. It makes them make subconscious decisions to go out for exercise and make themselves better whilst out with their dog as well. And personally, I think the NHS should prescribe pet therapy. And finally, dogs, although they have personalities, they also have plenty of use. For example, as Thomas alluded to, my sheepdog Bram used every single day, gathering sheep and still feeling loved and cared like it's a pet in our household. Guide dogs for the blind, utilising being very useful to many blind members of society. Crufts for dog agility, where dogs compete and have a purpose in life and compete for top prizes on this stage. And you can even have your pets in addition at Britain's Got Talent, whether it be dog, cat, sheep, or sometimes even pigs on the stage. So, therefore, in conclusion, I strongly oppose that the UK has gone pet mad. So whether you have an animal companion or not, I urge you to accept that pet therapy is a thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Really showing pets can be a great way of helping the crisis in Britain. I'll now hand over to Andrew to respond to Jack's points. Andrew.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It seems, Jack, like many pets, you've got the wrong end of the stick here with my argument. You talk about, who cares for animals, when away at work. People at work can only go home to see their pets when they go home and look after them and care for them. That's all very well, but what happens during the day when they're not at home? Who's looking after the pet then? It's there by itself, isolated, worried, scared, stressed. Who knows, maybe you can rip up the couch and carpet. They can't be left by themselves. They need support all day round, all the time. And people take after their pets, not vice versa. A pet becomes lazy because the owner is lazy and untrained. So they won't go for runs with that pet. They won't look after them. The pet will simply copy after the owner. So that lazy owner who does nothing will lead to a dog who becomes lazy and does nothing. And you talk about a craze, in pets. You mentioned guide dogs and support dogs. There's no craze for guide dogs. That's a medical necessity. People need those dogs, and those dogs, are trained and love for doing that. But don't act as if we need to be training more just for the health of it. That's a very important subject. I don't think it's quite what I mean in this debate. And don't start me on Britain's Got Talent. If today was Britain's Got Talent, and those are your points for your addition, judges here would be going, So thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Andrew. To further this discussion, there's some time for open debate. We will remain seated throughout this hopefully friendly discussion. I would like to pass back to Jack.
Thank you, Master Chair. Andrew, a very pessimistic approach, and I bet you that cup of water's half empty in front of you as well. So, what you're wanting is somewhere for these pets to go during the day while you're at work. Funnily enough, there's pet sitting, dog walking classes. Many of these things are available to put your dog into during the day when you're away at work.
Andrew, your response to Jack's point?
Well, Jack, the cup was half full, but someone's untrained dog drank half of it when I wasn't looking, so that wasn't really my fault. But you talk about, again, I must say, these pets need care all time round. It's something I don't have to say We all love pets, and therefore it should be in our lives. It involves give and take. The dog gives to you, but you must give back to the dog and look after it in order to get that proper companionship that you're looking for.
Jack? Thank you. Andrew, I think you're massively underestimating the willpower of many humans that have dogs. They love their dogs and care for their dogs. They want the best for their dogs. Moving on to another point, however, I strongly feel that dogs don't just provide for these humans. They're a lifeline. They're somebody to talk to when ears that don't even listen like other humans.
Andrew, yourself?
Thank you, man. Sure. I do agree, dogs are a lifeline. I myself have a pet and I love it to bits and I would do anything for it. But, I give back to that pet too. For it to be a lifeline, you have to give that support and care to the animal. And they're simply not getting it. And like I said, the people who care for dogs, they already had dogs. This rise in demand is from new people wanting dogs, people who aren't responsible and aren't trained. And like I said, dog breeders, pet abandonment, these are all symptoms and causes of this craze in dog demand.
I'm sorry, Andrew, but you've got a dog and you've always had a dog, so you're somehow responsible. I've seen you on a night out and you're pretty irresponsible if you ask me.
Thank you, Jack. Andrew, do you have another point Jack could oppose to?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One final point, I won't get personal like Jack has. Like I said, pets are a wonderful thing and people do deserve to have pets. And many people do. What I'm saying is, don't get a pet unless you are responsible. Get a pet if you're going to care for it. You want love from a pet? Give that love back and care for it and be responsible. And if you can't do that, don't get a pet.
Thank you, Andrew. Can we get a brief response there, Jack?
One last point. I think every single one of you should go down to the Dog's Trust and get yourself a big cuddly dog. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew and Jack. I think we can all agree it was like two dogs fighting over a bone there. We now move to our arbiter, Miss Christina Young, who has a difficult task deciding which of these two convinced her they are right. Christina is 18 and currently works at home at the family farm shop. However, she does hope to escape to university to study to become a doctor. I'll now pass you over to Christina to arbitrate today's motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you'll all agree that it was an informative yet intense debate between these two today. Together they chose as a topic, has the UK gone pet mad? And they laid out some thought-provoking points on the matter between them. Firstly, Andrew proposed the motion that yes, the UK has gone pet mad. He got his point across firmly through expressing ideas such as the fact that the rise in pet demand means a rise in inhumane pet ownership. He said also this rise in demand will lead to a lot more illegal puppy farms. Andrew then added that pet care after COVID has plummeted and there's become a major need for rehoming and there's been so much more pet abandonment. Next, opposing the motion today was Jack. Not to be stepped on by Andrew, he proved his points with persistence, speaking on topics such as pets create a human-nature connection and that they give an owner a purpose in life. Having a pet subconsciously keeps you fit and it's great for everybody. Andrew came storming back, strengthening his side of the argument. By reiterating Jack's point on what is going to happen when the owner is at work, what is going to happen now that COVID's over. Andrew corrected Jack and said guide dogs are not a craze, they're a medical necessity. Next up was the open debate, where things hit the next level. Jack asked about pet sitting and dog walking being available whilst everybody's at work. Surely that's okay. And Andrew says, but it's not on you to pay somebody else. It's about creating that pet-human connection. And whilst the open debate was in full flow, they continued to rabble on, just like two dogs fighting. I'm sure you'll all agree that choosing a winner here today is no mean feat. However, there was one point on giving owners a purpose and a companion in life which really grabbed my attention and solidified my decision here today. Therefore, I must declare Jack as a winner here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, for your well-rounded arbitration for today's topic, in which she decided the motion was not carried. All that is left for me to do is thank my team today, the judges for their time and attention, and you, the audience. And I'll leave you with this. Do you think the UK has gone pet mad? Thank you.